expertise in their area of operation.
Now, psychological operations.
The purpose of all psychological operations is to create in foreign groups the emotions, the attitudes, and the behavior to support the achievement of national objectives. Psychological operations, PSYOP, will influence policy and decisions, the ability to govern, the ability to command, the will to fight, the will to support, the will to win. Psychological operations can increase the combat power of friendly forces and adversely affect the combat power of the enemy. This is accomplished basically by attacking the identified weaknesses of the opposing forces through a planned and coordinated PSYOP campaign. The PSYOP tools are radio, television, leaflets, newspapers,
Let's get that to the press as soon as you can.
Right.
loudspeakers,
Serán retornados a Cuba comenzando el 4 de noviembre de 1983. 100 serán retornados el primer día.
and face-to-face communication. The recent Grenada action provided a classic example of psychological operations. PSYOP teams went in with the first combat troops, and they stayed after the troops were gone. Television was not used in Grenada. There were very few sets in the country. But in another situation where those few TVs were owned by key government personnel or other leaders, television would have been an ideal medium to use. United States Army PSYOP personnel are trained and prepared to support in these actions. And many times there are peacetime PSYOP needs before armed conflict breaks out. PSYOP effectively builds combat power, both strategically and tactically. When combat units are required to adopt a defensive posture, PSYOP can remain on the offense. In retrograde operations, PSYOP provides civilian control measures and can support counterattacks. In relief operations, PSYOP can remain to support the incoming unit. In consolidation operations, PSYOP will reorient and educate the civilian population in liberated or occupied areas. The United States Army PSYOP mission is to support U.S. national policy, to support military operations, and to be prepared to conduct PSYOP unilaterally or in support of other military services and United States government agencies. We also give PSYOP training, advice, and assistance to other U.S. armed forces and friendly nations. Psychological operations create a favorable image, forces and friendly nations. Psychological operations create a favorable image, gain popular support, and weaken enemy forces. PSYOP is now a major weapon in 20th century warfare.
Now, Special Operations Aviation.
Special Operations Forces Aviation basically turns on two things. They are the different aircraft available as well as the tactics to be used. Naturally, both are determined by the mission. We may use the UH-60 Blackhawk or the UH-1H Huey helicopter to complete the assigned mission. Most of the Special Operations Forces missions